Okay, let's go.
Hey, this is Dr. Bryant. Thank you for joining me again for another episode of Coaching to Change. Today, we're going to talk about something that's pretty cool. It's called Finding Life Purpose. I had a client that was having a conversation with me, and we were discussing things such as, their goals, what are their next steps, and the client was struggling trying to understand exactly what it was that they wanted to do. So we kind of went back in time, which is what I like to do. I typically, as a developmental coach, I like to start from the beginning and figure it out, like, why did you choose that? Where did you go? What was the purpose of why you ended up in this particular field? What is it that you're changing? We cover so many things, and this is part of being a coach, is to understand the client, being able to know what it is we need to do to support that person. As a developmental health coach, my job is that I start from the foundation and then I work my way up. And I leverage the mental health aspect because it's always important to understand how a person thinks. It starts from the very beginning, early in their evolution of life, to understand their path. And sometimes I'll get into discussing their mother, their father, their family dynamics, their, where they grew up, the demographics, because you'll be surprised. Sometimes the individual is struggling because they just have no motivation, because they don't believe that there's somebody who deserves something. And this is amazing to me because, considering what the social media is and considering the TV and access to television and cable, you can see how people are achieving and accomplishing almost anything and everywhere. We have so many reality shows, for instance, and it doesn't, some of the people who are on these shows, it's amazing. They wouldn't even be known if it wasn't for something about them that a producer for whatever network had said, you know what, you're an interesting person. I want to do a show. And they run it up the ladder, and next thing you know it, they're nationally known. So we see these things happen, so it has nothing to do with your background. But I will say, go back to listen to one of my other shows when I talked about self-esteem. You definitely have to believe in who you are. So here I am today. I want to talk about finding life purpose, because sometimes people just don't really understand if who they are is worth anything. And that couldn't be further from the truth. So I have my iMac in front of me because I want to make sure I cover very specific topics. And I usually don't, have everything right out here, but it's important that these things are covered, and it's not a checklist. By no means is the information we're going over is a checklist, a method, like 1, 2, 3, 4. No. You take and apply what works for you. So I want to make sure that's very clear. Thing is that when you're finding your purpose, you absolutely have no idea which direction it's coming from. You may be doing it now, or it may be something you're going to do in many, many years from now. And you have no idea the path you're taking that will lead you there. That's one of the beauties of life, is that sometimes you're going to get a curveball. We all know the term midlife crisis. Well, I think that's kind of where it comes from, because they utilize it and they apply it to men mostly, and they always kind of have a negative perspective about it, because a man will, typically divorce his wife of X amount of years so he can choose somebody younger. So they came up with this. But if you really think about what that could really mean, it's simply, you're getting to a point where you need change. You need to find something else that's going to give you that fire, something that's going to give you a purpose, something that's going to allow you to do something else in your life. And that's really kind of what this is about. You know, we discover their passions, our values, strengths to identify our purpose. That's what the definition is. So this is what we're going to talk about. And I want you to understand there's no perfect answer in any of this. You know, there's, like I mentioned about a checklist, 3, 5, 7, follow these steps. No, that's not what this is about. I want you to figure out what works for you and then run with it. If you need a coach, you know where to reach me. If you have your own coach, great. But figure out how you can apply some of these to figure out your purpose. Now, the best part about when I do my shows is I'm very transparent. I use myself. So I'm going to be talking about me as I relate to these examples so you can have something to compare to and understand if something is not quite making sense. So that's going to be the beauty. I'm going to be the guinea pig here. So it's going to be about my own personal journey because I went through this. Again, everything I do, I'm the first client, right? So, it says here, identify the things you care about. So you're trying to figure out your life purpose. First of all, let's understand, what is it that you love to do? What is it you care about? What is it that makes you want to get up in the morning that, you know, allows you to, continue? Now, the interesting thing is you're going to have more than one. You're going to, I like to play golf. I like to do all these different things, but some of these don't necessarily give you a reason to choose that as a career or a reason to choose that for your everyday purpose. I cannot play golf every day. My body won't allow it. There's just absolutely no way. I could never be on tour because I wouldn't be able to play that third day out of 4. So I'd be done by the third, that Saturday round. I'd be probably hoping I don't make the cut. That's how much I would not want to do that. So for me, it's not going to be my life's journey or my life purpose is not going to be, okay, I want to be a PGA Pro on tour. That's not going to be on my list. Although I love playing golf. So what else is it? Well, I like to help people. I love to help people. I love the response I get from people. I love how people react to when I'm doing something for them. That gives me a purpose. So let's, in a vague sort of summary, that's kind of where I'm going to look at. I'm going to look at that. So let's figure out where we're going to go from that piece of what I believe is my life purpose. But I don't know exactly what it is yet. It says reflect on what matters most. Again, that is something that I enjoy by helping other people. But more specifically, what exactly about helping others should I consider? What matters? Now, what matters to me most is my mental health. That's what matters to me. Ever since I left the military and I realized everything kind of just went in a different direction, I felt like I lost control. I felt like I didn't know who I was. I felt like my dynamics of friendships, families, everything just sort of fell apart. So that's what mattered to me, was understanding how things went wrong. So trying to understand that, I figured out, okay, wait a minute, this is a mental health thing. This is a psychological thing. Let's figure out how that plays into this dynamic. So going back to number 1, I care about people. Number 2 is something related to mental health, something that has a psychological impact. Is it family? Do I volunteer with families? Am I doing something with that? We'll figure it out. But I understand that next component. That's important. So we're going to put that there and move on. The next one is recognize strengths and talents. Okay. All right. What am I good at? Well, I'm good at shooting. I can shoot a pistol. I can shoot various weapons. I don't want to go into specifics, but I'm pretty good at that. I'm pretty good at CQB. I'm pretty good at a lot of different things related to combat. But okay, that's not really here nor there. Although, you know what? Do I go in law enforcement? I care about people. Okay. What matters most? Mental health. Well, law enforcement may not necessarily be the right thing. Because if you're focusing on mental health and you're going to law enforcement, I don't know if that's quite the proper equation. But I am good at doing things related to weaponry, and I'm good at interacting with people and communication. So I don't know, maybe we put that there and see, and we circle back. So maybe that's something we have to think about. They say try volunteering. Well, I do that all the time. I've been doing that since way back when. So I know I enjoy that, but is it going to be my personal journey? Is it going to be my life purpose? I don't think so. I like doing it as a hobby. I don't think I want to do that as a permanent thing. I've been on the director board level with so many different organizations, Boys and Girls Club, veterans, and I enjoy it to the point of where I'm providing assistance. Even now, I'm the commander of a post, American Legion post, right now. But the roles and responsibilities I have is kind of where I manage and maintain it, but it doesn't consume me. So again, is that my life purpose? Like, am I going to try to be the post commander, then eventually become the regional, and work my way up, and then I want to try to be national commander? No, that's not what I'm interested in. I care about people. Is it a mental health thing? Yeah, there's definitely a component of veterans with mental health. My strengths and talents is communication, organization. Absolutely, it's checking all the boxes. But going back to personal passion, I'm not sure. At a point, yes, but I don't think it's something I wanted to consume me. But we're going to put that to the side as well, because again, we're still trying to figure out life purpose. And I want to say this: not everything you think may be could be what's actually there for you. I try not to get religious, I try not to get political, but the reality is you're not really sure where God is taking you. You can force and manipulate and try to put yourself in a place, but that may not be what He has planned for you. So you have to recognize that. And I know that better than anybody, because I built a company where I was filing taxes. I was paying taxes. I kid you not. My VP would come and go, well, I wasn't a doctor then, but he had me sign our tax documents, and the CPA would come, and I remember first year it was like 400 something K. The next year I think we were up to like 600K. The third year we were at 800K. I remember the first time I saw where we grossed over $1 million. I was so excited because I always wanted to be a person who is successful. I thought, this is what I'm going to do. This is me. I'm going to be making all this money. I'm going to grow this company. I already bought a house, and my wife at the time, she had her Mercedes. I had my BMW. House is big. Everything looked great. Not the path for me. Not the path for me. Everything got taken away. Everything got taken away. And I know why, but that's a whole nother show. But everything got taken away. So again, what you may think may not necessarily, or what you may want may not necessarily be for you. Sometimes we just don't know what we don't know. But you gotta go through this, do this life purpose thing, and that'll help get you on the right path. No perfect scenario. I said that in the beginning. But let's try to figure some things out. Imagine your best possible self. Interesting. Trying to figure out, like, okay, well, how do I see myself? How, for me to be comfortable with me at the end of the day, when I wake up in the morning, when I go to bed at night, how is me my best possible self? Now, for me right now, I have different dynamics. And by the way, I'm still trying to figure out my life purpose. I have by no means figured it out, which is why I'm back in school to get my third doctorate, because I'm still trying to figure that out. But meanwhile, I'm doing some of these steps by trying to figure that out. So when I hear imagine my best possible self, well, that is part of that is when I'm like working at the hospital, and I'm working and I'm able to make a family smile, and I have that grandmother bringing me some food because she's so happy that we were able to figure out a diagnosis that they didn't even come in for, and things like that just makes you, that is where you may think, oh, this is where I'm supposed to be. It's not where I'm supposed to be, because if it would be, I would probably come back to the States and try to do it, which I will never do. I will never be a doctor here in the United States. But I love doing it in other countries of low income, where I have the ability to make a difference, a significant difference. And there's no more, I can't say enough of how it makes me feel. but it's not what I want to do. I never wanted to do this on a full-time basis. I'm just like I am with the American Legion. I'm just contributing a piece of me that allows me to help other people. But it's not quite my life purpose. At least that's what I think, right? I don't know. Cultivate positive emotions. Well, for me, that's a challenge because I'm always going through ups and downs emotionally. So it's really hard for me to try to figure out and find those positive emotions within myself because I struggle with so many different things every day related to so many different dynamics, and I don't even want to get into it. But cultivating positive emotions can help you stay focused and help you identify what is it that's related to where you're supposed to go. Because if you have a positive perspective, then those things are going to reflect back in making good decisions. For me, I'm lucky that I try to, I do a lot on data. I love data. I learned that when I was going through the PhD program, that how much I enjoyed it. Actually, that's not true. It actually came from when I did my Six Sigma. When I was doing my Six Sigma training, I was surprised at how much I enjoyed data analysis. And I remember at one of the universities I was teaching at, I think I was in the business program, and I remember they needed a teacher to teach stats. This is so funny because I did statistics at Sacramento City College summer program. And I did it the summer because it was the shortest period of school. I didn't want to do a full semester, and I just wanted to get it and be done. And I remember I believe I had a conversation with my mom. I don't remember if I lived with her now. I don't think I did, but I think it was just a conversation. And I remember saying, I'm going to take this class because I don't think I'm ever going to pass statistics. And the thing was, because statistics is not really math. It's not your typical algebra or even, it's closely related to geometry, if anything, but at least geometry has math in it. Stats doesn't have that much math in it. And, it's so funny because, I'm like scared to death, but I was eligible to take it because I didn't want to take all those other algebra classes. So when you're in your major and you're going through school, for those of you who haven't gotten to college yet, you got to take all these little prerequisites to get to whatever it is you're trying to do. And because I actually finished Algebra 2 in high school, and I don't know if the curriculum is the same now today, this is years ago, but because I had Algebra 2 in high school, I was eligible to just take stats. And if you take stats at junior college, you're done. You're done with math. So I'm like, I got to do this. So I signed up for stat, but I signed up for the summer class so I could be done because it's a lot shorter than the normal semester, fall and winter. And I got a C, and I was ecstatic. I was good. Took that C and ran. In fact, I think it's probably one of the only C's I've got in college. And I took it and ran. Never looked back. Fast forward, 15 years later, I'm teaching at a university. I wasn't a professor yet, but I was an adjunct faculty member, and they needed somebody to teach stats. And I was like, I got a C in stats. You don't want me to teach stats. But they were like, we need somebody. Can you please teach this class? And I'm like, I don't want to say the university because they shouldn't have done that. They should have found somebody to teach that class, but I guess they didn't want to cancel it. So they asked me to do it. And so I think I had about 3 or 4 weeks to prep, and I dove into it. And then what I found out was I was actually pretty good at it. I actually, I think I sold myself short when I was 18, 19, taking it at junior college. I think I sold myself short because when I started brainstorming or crash learning and making sure I understood it to teach this class and I'm writing a curriculum, I was starting to go, wait a minute, I like this stuff. I enjoyed how I could skew data. You could skew data? What? Are you kidding me? I remember one of the classes when I was teaching the students about, looking at these commercials and how the commercials like to fool us and trick us about, buy this product, it's like 3 out of, such and such, approve it. And then we talk about how that data is all manipulated just to be able to get you to buy the product. But in retrospect, how is that data really applied? And so being able to teach that and know more about data, moving forward, I get my Six Sigma black belt. Moving forward, I'm writing a dissertation. And moving forward, I'm using data for all kinds of things. So I kind of went off the rails there a little bit, but just giving you perspective that, finding things that you enjoy doing and being able to focus on that is truly an element of what you need to do in your life purpose. So finally, the last one is look to the people you admire. This one here was interesting enough for me because I have a categorical perspective about the people that I admire. It's not cut and dry, so you have something like, okay, if you're talking about a parent, or if you're talking about a coworker or a boss, you're talking about a role model, in another different element, it's not quite that simple. So for you, you have to think about does it relate to? If you're going to look at somebody you admire, think about what is relate to and does that person fit that particular scenario. But overall, putting all these together, think about this and figure out how this will help you circle back and figure out your life purpose. As I told you, I use my own self as an example, but unfortunately, I don't have an ending. I don't know. I will finish my psychology doctorate at some point. I will continue to publish books. I will continue to continue to write books that will be published. I will continue to coach. And at some point, I will hopefully continue to be a doctor and continue to serve, communities that need doctors and can't afford it. I will continue to travel and continue to seek my own self-healing. So I have a lot that I'm doing, but the reality is that I still don't know my self-purpose. So hopefully, utilizing these same examples, I will figure that out right along while you're doing your thing, and then hopefully we can circle back and talk about it. Hey, come on my show. I have no problem inviting a guest. I used to do it all the time. So we'll see. Let's see what the future has, because I don't know what it is. And maybe, God has a plan for me. Maybe it is exactly what I'm doing right now, just constantly putting on shows, constantly talking about mental health, constantly providing experiences for my clients, providing experiences for myself, constantly just putting out books. And then at some point, there's these books will be utilized for a bigger purpose. Or not. Maybe it'll be a paperweight. I don't know. But I do know I do appreciate you listening. I appreciate you following. I appreciate the subscribers. I looked at my Instagram and somebody, I'm like, holy cow, I got like 20,000+. Like, I remember when I only had like 200 and something. And now I'm over 20,000, so that's pretty cool. And I got like on my views, all my different shows are like over 1,500 per show. The shorts, not even the long ones, just the shorts. And I couldn't be more grateful. I do appreciate it. I do the homework, I do the work. I'm very transparent, throw myself out there. The truth of the matter is I just don't care. I don't care how people think. I don't care what people say. I do care about making sure I don't put myself in any legal situations, so I don't use names. I don't talk about a person or company. I don't, try to create any level of animosity with anybody, because my whole purpose and point is just to, help. I just like doing that. It's just something that I do because I feel that there are people out there. Not everybody has the same resources. Not everybody has the same ability to acquire certain information. So if I can just say something that somebody it just clicks and they go, that makes sense, then I am good. I am good, because that happens to me too. Sometimes you'll say something or somebody will say something and they'll be like, man, you said it where I understood it, because we all process things differently. And that's what this is all about. This is what I do. This is why I do what I do, because having to hear and digest information, and I try to do it in a way, just like when I was teaching school, when I was teaching at the universities, My students, any student that's ever been in front of me in my class, they'll tell you, Dr. Bryant is a person that will say it 3 different ways because he really wants you to be able to understand. And that's still how I am. So hopefully this will go with, you'll take this information and it'll provide you some insight, and hopefully you find your life purpose. My name is Dr. Bryant. You're listening to Coaching to Change. Find me on my website, draaronpbryant.com. I'm more than happy to respond to anything you might send my way. And remember, somebody's always listening. May not always be me, but somebody is always listening. So never give up. Never give up. Thank you.